We want to begin now with some breaking news. Rapper Lil Durk is charged in a for hire plot.
Lil Durk's real name is Durk Bank, and he is from Chicago. This is his mugshot from Florida, where he was arrested last night.
The End of Durk is the title of a new evidence file that the Chicago police recently opened. According to reports, there is enough information in this file to lock him up for life. The fact that it contains evidence that he might have been the 1-2 backdoor King Von is even more startling. I realize that seems crazy, but it's difficult to ignore the intricacies in this file. Direct statements from Vanny's father, which are now included in the official record, are among the most startling facts.
I'm gonna give you this. It's a back door and I got all the pieces. That's all I'm gonna tell you. As Durk asked Vonnie, is it open? Vonnie told him it's off the hinges.
Wait. Are you talking about the Von? Like King Von?
Listen very carefully. When the payment was made to Little Tim, the next day or the same day, Durk asked Vonnie, was it open? This is what he asked him. Was it open? This was the exact words, was it open? He told him it's off the hinges.
Are you saying that Vonnie backdoor King Von? No way. That was right here.
You heard what I just said. Guess what? You need motive first, right? Yeah. I got bankers that'll testify that or will make a contract or make a statement to you and let you know that this is the amount of money he had, this is what he had, this is that, another. You need motive first and foremost. I got text messages from the lawyer letting you know that who told on Durk before, who told on Von before he.
His father would then be questioned by Acadams, who would inquire as to why Lil Durk would ever desire the removal of King Von. The cops saw anything substantial at that point. Von and Durk were both involved in a major case at the time of Von's passing. Shortly thereafter, a confidential deal quietly concluded the case. The idea that Durk would have struck a covert agreement with the federal government is what makes this appear worse. According to the notion, he could have accused King Von of being the one who committed the crime.
Why would Durk want Von?
Let me give you this. First of all, you didn't sign your rights over. You ain't in no 360 deal. First of all, you can't bring nobody into the business and they surpass you. How you bring me to the table and I pass you up? Don't nobody want their chief spot taken, do they?
That's an interesting
dude was
thing.
A slack. Dude was he was signing the boys. He was Von wasn't no slack.
That's interesting. I did find out that Von didn't have any contractual ties to Durk like that.
I mean, come on, man. He wasn't even signed to him. How's this his friend? He lied on Breakfast Club and said, "Hey, you think your man would be sitting here with $300,000 worth of jewelry on and he not have an attorney?" He had a public defender.
A widely shared tweet started to circulate, which increased suspicion even further. The tweet pointed out a definite pattern. Durk went live the same night King Von died, the night Lil Pab was killed, and even when FBG Duck was removed. It said Vonnie's dad leaking that Lil Durk had King Von dealt with is really making me wonder why Durk always hops on IG Live right after someone passes away. Durk frequently uses Instagram Live as what appears to be a live alibi, according to police files. So if something goes wrong, he can point to the live stream and say, "I was on live, check the records." However, what really shocked people was when Vanny's father allegedly claimed that his son turned federal and even implied that Vanny was involved in
No, he ain't take my rights. He ain't respond no back to me because this is on a tablet. He on a jail tablet when I sent that to him. He ain't respond to nothing else to him. I told you he can't take my advice because they playing. They made themselves get caught. This is what come along with it. They wanted to get caught. You understand me?
So, that's what you meant by trenches paint. Okay.
What you mean trenches what?
Was it you that said that? With the whole narrative about Vonnie snitching with the text messages. Like, that's...
Yeah. I don't know who said that, but that was me.
Cause that was a focus. Everybody was trying to make it seem like that's what the text messages was about.
That's just saying what he finna cop out to and this, that, and other. And with me saying Von, some people like, damn, what he gonna tell on some words on Von?
I ain't gonna lie, I said that in my video. I'm intrigued to know what the Von name was for.
No, he ain't gonna tell him no Von. You gonna tell it just like you orchestrated Lil Ted. You orchestrated this, and guess who you work for?
420 being from the streets. OSHA. Vanny's father adhered to the rule that if someone snitches, you can expose them as well, and he didn't hold back. The issue is that Lil Durk is now solely responsible for the consequences. In reality, things became much more complicated when Durk's sister-in-law accused King Von's cousin, Osha Vonnie, of being a snitch and a rat in the federal murder-for-hire case. Vonnie is no longer listed as being in the custody of the Bureau of Prisons, according to court records updated today. This indicates that he has been freed, most likely on home arrest or sent to a halfway house. Once again, having access to a phone, Vonnie's father received a direct text message informing him of the reality. "Yeah, I'm trying to plead out on a 32, Vanny acknowledged. Max is 43 years old. However, I will receive a 0 for the plea, a 0 for the early plea, and a 0 for the lack of background. I'm at 27 points, or 5 to 7 years after. That, better than that elbow. I couldn't attend the trial. I don't want to be treated the same way as the other boys." Vonnie was referring to Jam, another character in the case who also assisted the federal government and ultimately paid for it, when he stated that he didn't want to become like the other boys. Vonnie tried to explain, but his father wouldn't have it and eventually disclosed the true cause of Vonnie's outburst. 3 key individuals connected to the crime were identified in federal files: D, Vonnie, and Lil Durk. The relationship between Vonnie and D changed significantly when fresh body cam evidence of D's younger brother, Lil Ted, pleading to work with Durk and other OTF agents, came to light. That footage changed the entire direction of the case, with Lil Ted exposed as the younger brother in this family line connected to Vonnie and D. The dominoes started falling. Durk's lawyers even filed paperwork requesting extra time on their bond proposal, which raised serious questions about what exactly Lil Ted told the feds. This entire family of Vonnie, D, and Ted's seems to be turning against Durk.
Really? Dude had a. What about that? A man had a with an extended clip. That's cool though, right?
At that moment, Ted was taken straight to the station. But even before stepping foot inside, he was already breaking down, tears running down his face as he tried to strike a deal. He told officers, "I swear I'll tell y'all about the passings," hoping those words would keep him from getting locked up. But by then, it was already too late. The charges were in motion, and his desperate attempt to save himself wasn't enough to...
Come on. Hey, stop it. Stop it.
Being placed into his waiting cell, Lil Ted was seen crying his eyes out.
Once he was placed in his holding cell, Lil Ted completely broke down. He was crying his eyes out, clearly desperate to go home, and the only thing on his mind was giving up names. He wanted to snitch on the team members he knew had committed crimes, just to cut himself a deal and escape jail time. At that point, it wasn't about loyalty, it was about survival. And who knows what kind of talks DDD might have had with his younger brother before all this. Because the way Ted folded so quickly left a lot of people questioning what really...
Oh, you gotta relax for me, because I can't understand it. Relax. What's the number? 7 what you saying, man? We're gonna see what we can do for you, alright? We're gonna see what we can do for you. You gotta relax for me.
Relax, man. I'm gonna get a bus for Christmas. Relax.
Give me No, I'm saying, what you talking about? I'm trying to get
would go on to say that most of what people were talking about was nothing more than street rumors being passed around. He explained that he didn't want to get caught up in that type of conversation and was only focused on handling his own business. Even with him saying that, Many people watching from the outside couldn't ignore the timing of when these interviews were released. The fact that both Lil Tim and Quando Rondo sat down to speak publicly on the exact same day that Lil Durk was reportedly involved in an altercation inside. Jail didn't sit right with a lot of people who followed this situation closely. Some began to see it as more than just an ordinary coincidence. To them, it looked like a carefully timed decision meant to serve a bigger purpose. Fans online started comparing it to how Lil Durk often uses Instagram Live as a way to show his location. During tense moments, the suggestion was that these interviews worked in a similar way, providing Lil, Tim, and Quando with something to point back to in case questions were raised about what role, if any, they had in the events surrounding Durk. At the same time, the backdrop of all this made things even more intense. Lil Durk's longtime friend Glee had just passed away in Chicago, an event that shook people who were close to him and raised new questions about retaliation, loyalty, and who might be looking for revenge. For a lot of people who follow street politics, it didn't feel like random chance that Durk's jail fight, Glee's passing, and the release of those interviews all lined up so closely together. Instead, it painted a picture of how layered and complex these situations can get when street ties, family ties, and legal cases all collide.
I was just protecting my little brother.
When you did finally find out that it was King Von who did it, how'd you feel?
I was like, damn, if Brian did that stupid shit last night, he still would have been alive. That's how I was. But I was like, yeah, I ain't no the type person I am. Like, I'm a humble person. I ain't no disrespect to like his mama saying him like that, cause I could easily get on that type of stuff and be clout chasing type. Like, I ain't on that type. I'm a humble person, but it's like they ain't never popped that shit off. That would have never happened like that.
Which even led to Quando Rondo echoing the same type of response during his own sit-down. He explained that, looking back, he wished the entire situation had been handled.
Whoever on my side, they got kids and a mama that 100% love them. And at the end of the day, bro, all this bull that we talking about is stupid. That could have been handled a totally different way. It could have been handled to the point where a song and $3-4 million could have came out or whatever. Like, that could have got handled in a legit way, in a music way.
Two known rivals of Lil Durk choosing to sit down for interviews on the very same day, both praising him and stressing. They wished things had gone differently, left people with questions. For some, it came across as oddly convenient timing, almost too neatly aligned to be overlooked. But the story doesn't stop there. Just one day before those interviews surfaced, it was reported that Lil Durk was on the verge of being released from jail. That timing had many convinced the interviews were rushed out intentionally, almost like a way to influence how things might play out if Durk actually walked free, to understand how close he really was to stepping out. You have to look at what was revealed through his father. According to reports, Durk's dad shared that the rapper was preparing for a possible release on bond. This wasn't his first attempt either by this point. It was his third. But unlike the earlier trials, his legal team was said to have put together a proposal so strong and well-structured that people believed the judge would have no choice but to give
left the courtroom for the bond hearing for my son for the release for the third time. This time it was very fair. The judge was very fair. He wasn't pro-prosecutor, he wasn't pro-defense, but he was pro-justice. So he listened to all the evidence, and he's gonna give a ruling in the next few days about what his position is for the bond. But we were very pleased at how it turned out. So continue, family, friends, and fans, continue to keep us in your prayers, and we thank you. And inshallah, God willing, this be victorious for us, that we have a good ruling in our favor.
Lil Durk's release from jail started to look more like a real possibility when prosecutors unexpectedly dropped some of their own evidence against him. This sudden move not only hinted at a potential release date, but also gave the impression that officials were rushing to act before he could walk free. Reports stated that during one of his recent court hearings, prosecutors openly told the judge they were choosing to throw away specific pieces of evidence. They even read it aloud in the courtroom for everyone to hear. This raised questions about how such a decision might affect the rest of Durk's bond hearing. As the judge was in the middle of considering whether to grant him release, the prosecutors announced, "We would like to drop this evidence." They made it clear by pointing directly to the lyrics from one of his songs, claiming they no longer wanted to use them. On top of that, they also presented a separate news report of Quando Rondo yelling no on the sidewalk after King Von's passing. The timing and delivery of these actions left the courtroom with plenty to think.
Right now, the search is on for 3 people who police say at a Savannah rapper, a member of his entourage. It happened in Los Angeles, and cameras captured the aftermath.
This man, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight.
While it might seem like good news that prosecutors are dropping evidence against Durk, the way they went about it came across as questionable. They chose to dismiss it right as Durk was trying to secure a bond, which felt more like a move to influence the situation rather than a fair decision. Even though the evidence is no longer being used, the timing could leave an impression in the back of the judge's mind. This could still weigh into how he views Durk's overall case when making a final decision on release. The approach appeared so messy that it immediately sparked reactions across social media. Even Charleston White stepped in to give his thoughts on how the situation was handled.
This is a real victory. Now that demonic force was a dark force. It was a dark energy. I think we now finally get to put that fire out. I don't think we'll hear drill music ever again. I don't think drill rappers would ever be celebrated ever again. Down goes the drill. So this is a victory for law-abiding Americans who like hip-hop music but don't like the killing part of it.
White made it clear he wasn't in favor of Durk being released, using the situation to voice his opinion strongly. Around the same time, Durk's lawyer, Drew Finneling, stepped forward to give more insight into the case. He explained that despite the prosecutors dropping evidence, their timing may have worked against
the allegation they backed away from, which is huge. It shows the weakening of the case. Previously, the prosecution had alleged that Durk paid the bounty for the through one of his co-defendants, and they named the co-defendant. Now they've backed off that allegation. They're not actually saying that Durk paid the bounty through the co-defendant or anyone else. And the fact that they're not saying that suggests that previously they thought they were going to be able to prove that he paid the bounty through this guy, and now they know we're not going to be able to prove that he paid the bounty through this guy.
Finneling explained that the case against Durk was only getting weaker as time went on. The prosecutors could no longer rely on his lyrics, which had been one of their biggest talking points. Without that, their argument was starting to look thin. Durk's lawyer even called the charges a joke, saying they never had a strong case. To begin with, according to him, the feds were leaning almost entirely on Durk's music for evidence. Now, with that taken off the table, it leaves them with very little to stand on. This shift made Durk's bond request seem more realistic than ever before.
The case is as follows. So there was an indictment that did not name him, right? It named others, and then there was an unindicted person. And then 3 weeks later, that indictment was what's called the first superseding indictment, and it does name him. The indictment was identical, except the unnamed person now became Durk Banks. And this is the really important part, Act. The second indictment, what's called the first superseding indictment, only had one new fact. It had one new fact, and that was it alleged that there was a video by Durk that celebrated and monetized this.
Everything was lining up perfectly for Lil Durk, and it really looked like his release was right around the corner. The progress on the court had his team feeling confident. But then the news broke with an unexpected condition from the feds. They announced that Durk would have to go completely broke in order to be granted a bond. Not only that, but he would also have to give up all of his property. The reasoning behind this was tied to concerns about his financial power. The feds argued that Durk could potentially use his fortune to put bounties on.
No bond for Lil Durk. Let me tell you about what options he has left and why the bond was denied this time. Now, he's in federal court on a murder for hire charge where he faces the possibility of life in prison. What that means is under the federal law, it is presumed that you do not get a bond because the charge and the penalty are so serious. So your lawyer has to go out there and show why you should get a bond. Now, ultimately, what the district judge decided to deny the bond on was a couple of factors. There's a couple $1 million being put up, but it's not all being put up by Durk. Some of it is from the label, and ultimately Durk has a lot more money and assets than what's being put up. So if I let him out on bond and he tries to flee, he's going to have tons of assets and money at his disposal.
This all came about because while the judge was still taking a few days to make his decision, something serious went down involving FJam. Reports say the feds now believe Durk is already using his money to place bounties on potential witnesses. That's because news broke that Jam was tracked down by F members while hiding out in a crib just outside of Atlanta. The situation turned bad quickly, and word spread that Jam was punished for snitching on Durk. The story was backed up by sources who detailed what happened inside that house. Alongside the reports, a photo surfaced showing a crime scene at the exact spot Jam had been staying. This only added fuel to the prosecutor's claims.
A guy named OTF Jam.
That was wired.
Very ironic name.
Jam
now
got
he
him
put
in
everyone
a
in a jam.
Did 12 years.
12
got
years.
out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000.
Right.
This. Made mention that ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat. Caught a gun case, but eventually he flipped.
This is because the information Jam gave to investigators could easily put Lil Durk away for life. In the court documents, it states that more than 230 gigabytes of digital evidence are being processed. This includes audio recordings, surveillance footage, and nearly 20,000 pages of reports. Out of that, Jam alone supplied over 200 gigabytes of material. It's believed he could have provided even more if Durk hadn't caught on. During an Instagram Live, Durk noticed Jam repeatedly holding the collar of his jacket and whispering into it. Observers now claim that Jam was wearing a wire during that stream. That moment became a key red flag in the ongoing case.
Give me the check on your man. I heard you got his head. Hey. I ain't gonna lie, man. Hey, when I was growing up, I used to have a dare. Architect. Having a who? I'm having a dare. School's out of town.
Once Durk realized Jam was cooperating, he cut all ties with him. It became clear that Jam could no longer be trusted in the circle. Durk even hinted at the situation during an interview with DJ Academics. In the exchange, Academics noted that Durk had been moving carefully for years. The comment read that Durk has been playing 3D chess the entire time. This suggested he already knew Jam would eventually work with investigators. For many, it showed how cautious Durk had become with people
from a mile away.
I don't think people realize that.
I could have a conversation with you for 5 seconds and know you're cooperating.
Durk spoke further on the issue, explaining how the situation with Jam changed the way he moves. He said he no longer lets friends know where he lives or gives out personal details. The betrayal left him guarded, forcing him to keep his circle even tighter. It was clear in his tone that the whole experience had left him disappointed. Trust, once broken, was not something he could easily rebuild. The fact that Jam cooperated with investigators seemed to weigh heavy on him. If you could see the sadness in the way he described losing that.
Nobody is ever allowed to my house. It be my best friend never been in my house.
For real?
I promise.
Your best friend?
Promise. Like, it's people like that I just don't allow.
I just don't allow around my girl and my kids, cause it's like I'm just a different type. I'm not the have family night at Durk house tonight. It's the you gotta watch.
Everybody at Durk's crib.
Yeah, we gotta. Everybody getting watched. We gotta watch everybody. Hey, they go too close to them kids. You know what to do. Like that's how I play. Like I don't play. I see from a mile away.
I don't think people really.
Jam is the same person that Durk once gave $50,000 to during an Instagram Live, showing how much he trusted and cared for him. That makes the betrayal even harder to process, knowing Durk was willing to do anything for this man. The bond they shared seemed unshakable at the time, but money and loyalty don't always go hand in hand. What makes this life even more important is not just the gesture of giving cash. You have to pay attention to what's happening in the background.
Steady crying, huh?
He's steady crying. Feed him. Feed him.
Get in the milk, bro.
Get in the milk so baby mama get the trigger, bro.
You see that?
Feed
For my
him.
baby. That's really how y'all hold y'all babies, ain't it? I gotta hold my money like this. It's too much. Crazy though. Motherfuckers sitting up there doing all this. Sneak this and the internet games and all this. Up some money, do something. Like, we winning, bro. I can do whatever it is I want to do, I can do it. Buy what I want, do what I want. Y'all can't do that, bro. Goof
Bro got out what?
You know that
How many you did all?
How many years I did it now?
Yeah, that's your latest bit. 12?
12.
That boy popped out 12 years.
Yeah.
So much money. We really was just getting in order to just figure out the lanes, man, boy.
2040, the feds began looking closely at the people seen in the background of that Instagram Live. After Jam gave his cooperation, he included information about them as well. Investigators then compared faces and matched them to a jewelry shopping video, where they appeared with King Von. This showed they had a close relationship and often spent time together. The connection confirmed they were not just casual acquaintances. It also suggested they moved in the same circle during important moments. The feds later linked this same group to the
solitary stone.
We just looked at him.
Let's go over there.
What up, bro?
Boss, you good? My boy. Let's go.
They got real in here, man, because he just stepped in. The money man just stepped in.
With all of these snitches turning against Lil Durk, his entire future is on the line. The evidence being brought forward makes it seem like he could end up losing his freedom for life. It's a serious situation that even his closest supporters are worried about. If you've been following Durk's journey, then you already know how much pressure is stacked against him right now. His case has only gotten more complicated with every new update. But at the end of the day, the courts will decide how this plays out. If you're a Durk fan, make sure to leave a like on the video and comment down below whether or not you think he'll win his case.